Hello, everyone. I'm Gwen Preston of Resource Maven, and we're back at another Metals Investor Forum, which is nice to see each other in person, right?
Thank you.
I'm joined by Charles Funk of Heliostar Metals. Heliostar has a couple projects that where activities have been underway over the last year. And the Unga project is the project that, I know you love it. It's the reason that I invested in Heliostar. It's been a bit of a slog. There were a couple reasons for that over 2021. There were some drilling issues and there were lab delays and there was a tough market. So I kind of just wanted to talk about, you just presented the Unga project. Your presentation reminded me of how many great targets there are with high-grade open gold intercepts. But the path forward isn't always obvious, even when you have a really good project. Do you want to it's a bit of a broad question, but just talk about that? Because that's what you have to do as the leader of a company, right?
It's a funny thing to talk about in the last week, now that gold's gone up
Right.
$200 or $300.
Yes,
We're, in our industry, we're maybe a bit naive. As soon as the gold picks up, we're away, it's off. But realistically, we've been in an 18-month tough market, almost immediately after Heliostar came out.
Right, yeah.
And so our strategy was, we've got a great project, a project that we're really passionate about and we really believe in. And we were able to raise a lot of money because it was, the last time it was $2,000 gold and there was a lot of sentiment and a strong tailwind. And what worked at Vizsla was get a great project, show that it's good, get the capital and just double down. And that worked perfectly the year before. So we looked to replay that strategy and the project delivered. You remember, we've got the resource, but we were trying to grow and show that this is a district. We think there's multi-million ounce potential, not just a small high-grade zone. And so we drilled some great holes, 3 meters at 88 grams, 4.5 meters at 20 grams, a new discovery at Aquila. But what didn't work for us is the market was just dropping away. Investor sentiment was failing. August and September were pretty tough months.
They were, yeah.
And if it had worked, we would have raised $20 million and just gone foot to the floor.
Right.
But in that market, it would have diluted ourselves to oblivion. Yeah. So we've had to be a little more tactical and a little more, stretch our time frame out by another 12 months on what was a very ambitious goal.
Fair enough. Okay, so where does that leave us now? You have Unga, and like you say, the timeline is stretched. You will, I'm sure, access some money in the next little while, and I'm sure you're contemplating the options for that. But the process also involves backstops. I don't know if that's how you want to characterize your Mexican portfolio, but you went into the Heliostar without just one asset because you know that this is a reality of the junior markets. They don't always give you what you need.
Exactly. Our business is statistics at the end of the day. Ability to raise money and statistics on the shots you take. And we were very fortunate last year in that tough market that one of our earlier stage projects in Mexico delivered some great results. And so we were able to raise money when no one else could in August, September last year. And our strategy was that we know we've got a great core asset. It's backstopped by a resource that should backstop a valuation higher than we have today, but it's there, it's real, and it's got open intercepts. But we knew that if we could have a win in Mexico, that gave us a short-term re-rating to our stock and also potentially a monetizing event, because with the mills and the neighbours nearby, we're not the long-term owner of an asset like Cumaro, whereas we are for Unga. And so we took shots. It was a very low-risk program, $1 to $1.5 million program. And we had 4 targets, and we had one that we really liked. And we didn't get great results on that. We drilled underneath and the vein shuts down and the host rock isn't as good and the vein tightens up and doesn't have the gold. And, you drill that 10 times, 3 or 4 times, that works. We were on the unlucky group. But, in some senses, for an investor, as much as it hurts to say this for our long-term investors, we're under a 30 million market cap. We've got Unga with a huge upside potential still there. We've got 4 more targets to come at Mexico, and the gold price has got a tailwind. So I think this year's looking a lot more, it's looking a lot easier to the stage of exploration that we do. Whereas last year was a very, very tough year for that.
So then in the near term, you have more results from Cumaro, right? You said you had 4 targets. One of them that you liked the best didn't deliver particularly well, but you still have results coming from those other 3. That's like the near term stuff. And then, the other downside of Unga is the short field season. So once July hits, you get up there and hit it as hard as you can, given whatever you're able to come up with in terms of money and impetus.
Correct. The challenge this year hasn't been the field season, as we talk about. We've got a 9-month field season up there.
Right, it's true.
It's access to drill rigs. And the soonest we could get the drill rig was July, which does, it speaks to it speaks to this, I talked about in the talk that gold equities can't stay this depressed with this gold price. In the same way that, the tightness of the market to raise money can't stay the same with this lack of ability to find good geologists, good drill companies. That has to change. Either the capital markets have to open up or things have to get tougher and people become
to a halt.
Exactly. So the status quo is going to change. I think most of us think the long-term tailwinds are supportive for what we're doing. In management, when you're a shareholder, you just care about results. When you're management, you've got a whole series of processes on how you're going to get there.
Right.
And so we've locked in that rig, which is huge because no one else, if someone started before December last year and said, I want to drill this year, they're not drilling in northern Canada or Alaska. So we're organised, we'll start, and because we can drill into November, when other guys are giving up their rigs because their field season's shutting down, we can just keep accelerating. That's the nice thing about Unga.
Fair enough, yeah. So get going in July, maybe ramp up through the year depending on how results go, and if you want to add rigs as you go, then that's a possibility, and see where this year takes you. Yeah,
and the nice thing is we've got good projects, immediate news flow, and then back up to Unga, and I think with a tailwind, it's going to be a very exciting gold environment.
Well, good luck to you. I agree that this year should be easier than 2021, and let's see what Heliostar can do with it.